Hello and welcome to the Boney Life, where we make the kitchen and the garden quick and easy while we add a little dash of life to the mix. I'm Corey Boney and I would like to welcome you to episode 2 of the Boney Life live stream. Today we have a lot of exciting stuff. We're going to be covering soil restoration. We're going to be going over the latest gardening news and then also some great life events. So we have a lot of awesome stuff in store for tonight. And also going forward, a little PSA. The live stream will be scheduled for Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to try to get a more scheduled, a better schedule for the live stream. So we're going to shoot for Tuesdays at 7. I'll always try to keep y'all up to date if anything changes, but going forward, Tuesdays, 7 Central Standard Time for the future live streams. Right now, we're going to be heavily focused on gardening because it is spring and there's a lot to do in the garden. But we're also going to throw in some cooking and whatever life throws at us. If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe and click the bell to get notifications. That way, you'll get a notification of every time we do our live stream, and you'll be up to date with all of our information as well, like when we update a video, or just send out notifications on channel updates as well. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all the information for the channel. And also, if you're here watching, make sure to click a like. It helps us rank within live stream. So when people search live stream gardening, we rank up there at the top. So anyway, we'll get started with the current news. And I found a couple of articles around gardening to go over today. The first one was from the Associated Press, and it's Gardening's Benefits Jibe with Today's Emphasis on Wellness. It reads, modern gardening isn't just about growing plants, it's about a movement towards personal and family wellness that includes everything from diet and exercise to a clean and livable environment. Quote, a lot of things are going on in the wellness as it applies to our food culture. Helen Lodendale, a senior consultant with the Hartman Group Incorporated, a company in Bellevue, Washington, that studies consumer food and beverage trends. The essential theme is that consumers are moving towards natural foods. First and foremost, it is the absence of pesticides and chemicals used in production. But the gardening fits the movement in multiple ways, including a healthier food and also a healthier lifestyle with exercise. I'm paraphrasing there. I kind of missed over my lines. People want to exercise, she says. They want to connect with nature. They want to socialize. They want to have some private time and disconnect from social media. They want the long-term weight management rather than the crash diets. All of those can be benefits from gardening. So, yeah, that's something that's great. That's why I really like, we have a small backyard, but we also have a nice patio. And so I try to incorporate things around the garden, A, that we'll use, and B, also stuff that makes it pleasant around our patio. So it makes it appealing to the eye. We have a lot of, it's set up to where everything's kind of in the same area. And so you kind of get lost in our backyard. It doesn't feel like we're in the backyard of a city. It feels like we're really in touch with nature. We have a creek running in the back. We have our garden right around our patio, including on our patio, and it just helps to escape for a little bit from maybe a long day at work, coming home, getting into the garden, and just not only creating healthy foods, you're also getting a little bit of exercise in, and you're out getting fresh air, and you're able to just lose yourself from everything that surrounds us in today's world. So anyway, a lot of good things in this article. They also give a little bit of pointers that maybe you're thinking about redoing your backyard or adding a patio. It says things to consider when doing that would be making sure that you have creative lighting. we have awesome patio lighting. Unfortunately, AT&T came in our house during our backyard in the middle. What was it? I guess it was yesterday, and they were updating the power lines or the telephone lines, and they crushed our patio lighting. We had kind of a Edison bowl patio lighting, and it was completely destroyed. So we're in the process of fixing our patio lighting situation. But that's one thing to consider. Also, maybe making sure that you're connected to Wi-Fi. Maybe not. If you want to completely get lost in your backyard, maybe that's a good thing to not have, and maybe just disconnect and connect when you come back inside. TV connections. Funny thing about that, we also had TV connections, and then the power company came and accidentally clipped our cable that goes out to our patio, so we still need to fix that. And then shelter from harsh sun and wet weather. So those are really important too. You want to have proper sun protection. We have a umbrella for our patio. Provides a little bit, but yeah, those are great things to consider when maybe you don't have any garden. Maybe you are thinking about adding an outdoor area. All great things to think about when going over that. So anyway, moving right along. Let's see here. Also, another good recommendation, which is very important, is actually making sure that when you maybe you're adding some landscape, but make sure that they're pollinator friendly. So you want to have things that attract bees and butterflies and all those great bugs that help pollinate your cucumbers or your tomatoes or all of your garden. Be sure that if you are adding non-vegetable gardens, plant life into your garden, that it's pollinator friendly to help out your garden as well. So another good point there. The next article is, let's see here, Organic Gardening 101, Feed the Soil, Not the Plant. And this is ties into pretty much the main focus of today, is making sure your soil is ready for your garden. Because if you have healthy soil, the benefits will follow. So the first step that you want to make sure to ensure is that you're having the proper nutrients in your soil, that's the right type of soil consistency, and that you're also able to replenish your soil's nutrients each year. So anyway, into the article, it says a philosophy of nature-focused movement is that healthy soils will produce healthy plants. Who knew? Feed the soil, not the plant, is a holy mantra of organic gardening. The organic movement started in the 1900s when large modern scaled agricultural practices were being adopted. Organic gardening is a close relative to small-scale organic farming. Over the past 50 years, the organic movement has slowly taken root with the philosophy that the farm or garden is a living system and that it can be benefited by understanding how Mother Nature works. Basically, it goes on to talk about her background and how she has been gardening for over 50 years, but then it gets into the good stuff. At the heart of the organic movement is the acknowledgement that healthy soil will produce a healthy plant. As long as we focus on keeping our soil healthy, we will have far less insect and disease issues to deal with. And our crops will actually be more nutritious. All soil consists of a chemical, a physical, and a biological component. A chemical part refers to the nutrient content. The physical part refers to the structure and textures, like sand, silt, clay, and organic materials. And the biological part refers to all those microscopic critters that we can't see, but also can't live without. It is a biological component that, for the most part, organic gardening is most concerned with. It is helpful to understand that there is a close association between plant and soil organisms. In the soil, we can find fungi, bacteria, protozoas, and arthropods, to name a few. Generally speaking, the relationship with plants is beneficial. And so that's a really good part to stop at right there, because a lot of times we get into the garden and we do more harm than good. We can torch it or with tilling everything up and destroying the balance of the microorganisms in our soil. So a lot of people are starting to also adapt the no-till method. You may have to till your garden to start out, but really you want to limit the disruptive nature in that little miniature ecosystem, because there are organisms in there, and they're what will break down all the nutrients that you're putting in there, or the chemicals, for lack of a better term. And that rapid breaking down more rapidly helps your plants absorb it more quickly, and they grow to become healthier plants, and they'll produce more food for you. So it's a win-win. But yeah, it's something that a lot of people don't really consider, but microorganisms in the soil is very important to creating a really, really productive garden. And then also with the chemicals, a lot of it is less is more, but just making sure that you take care of the beds in the off season. That way, when you're ready to start your garden in the springtime, it's good to go. You don't have to do a lot, and then you maintain it throughout the growing season is a better philosophy, in my opinion, and it will help you in the long run. So anyway, it goes, the easiest way for gardeners to improve the soil is to add copious amounts of compost each year. The art of making good compost is subject for a whole other column, but yeah. So basically, adding compost is because that's something that is in my goal for this year, is to get a compost started. That way, I don't have to shell out extra money to buy it already. But anyway, in the composting, everything's being broken down. You're getting all the nutrients, and it's really, really, really beneficial for your garden. And what's in there? All the microorganisms that help your soil all throughout the growing season. So very, very important. Compost and the microorganisms. Another thing that you can also do is just to limit the how disruptive you are in the bed itself. So that way you don't take out all the organisms that are already in there. So extra bonus content right there. In addition to compost, gardeners should also add organic fertilizers to veggies and flower beds to replace all the nutrients that were consumed in the previous season. We kind of went over that. And also, yeah, the good thing about organic fertilizer is that you don't really have to worry about overdoing it. You can overdo it. Not saying that you can't, but a lot of them are going to be mild, like 5.55s or 5.22s. But it's also really important to differentiate water soluble and insoluble. So bone meal, blood meal, stuff like that is something that you're going to want to add periodically over the growing season. But it's those microorganisms are what will break down those nutrients so that they're usable in the plants. Something like a fish emulsion is already soluble, and the roots will be able to uptake it immediately. So that's really good, especially if you need a real quick boost of maybe nitrogen. Fish emulsion is a really good option for that. All right. And then it goes on to talk about organic gardening with insecticides and or diseases. And I have a video coming out probably by the end of the week about neem oil. A neem oil spray is a very good organic solution to take care of pests that will eat your crop, which I'm having a little bit of problem with right now with my cauliflower and a little bit in my kale. So it's been raining off and on, so they've kind of hit it in between. So you have to make sure that you're on top of it too. But making sure that you spray. There are lots of organic solutions to combat the insects, but as always, don't overdo it. And also always test spray before you spray your entire garden. Spray one big leaf of one plant and see how it reacts. Don't spray your entire garden with anything. Otherwise, you may wake up in the morning and realize that you're not going to be gardening for a while. All right. So let's go on to the next. This is on the cooking side of things. There is a meat recall. I saw this. It was as 3 hours ago, about 2 hours ago. It's 5 hours ago. 5 hours ago, they recalled some meat. Says according to the official recall issued by the USDA, federal officials discovered that 7,146 pounds of beef, which had been produced and packaged by Texas meat packers, had not actually been inspected only after the product had reached the stores. The producer, based in Fort Worth, sent the beef to stores in Alabama, Arkansas, Indiana, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Texas. So, if you're looking for some beef, you may be slim pickings, and the prices may be up for a little while because there is a recall in my home state, Texas. Whoops, Texas. All right. So that is what is in the news for this week. let's go on to the tips. We're going to be focusing on gardening tips because it is springtime, and that is what we are all about right now. The first tip we've kind of already touched on it. It is just replenishing the soil. And so two really cool ingredients for those organically are bone meal and blood meal. And you may say to yourself, well, what do these do? How do I know what to use them for? And we're going to go over that a little bit today. So one really easy way that I like to do to remember which is which is for bone meal, it's bones, calcium and phosphorus is what's prevalent in the bone meal. And you take a little trip down memory lane and you think about all the got milk ads and that they want calcium to make your bones strong, calcium, bone meal, it's how I remember it, and the other's blood meal. Blood meal is for nitrogen, for leafy growth, so that's really good for kale. It's really good for a lot of things. You're going to want to add a little bit to just about everything because everything's going to need nitrogen. It is a pillar of all gardening is nitrogen, so that you get that out of blood meal. And so some really good things to add blood meal for is going to be like kale, lettuce, really things that you want to produce a lot of leaves for. You're going to want to tone it down when you're growing peppers. Peppers, you want them to produce more blooms. You want that will turn into peppers. And you don't want them really focusing on as much leafy growth. And so for that, you would go a little heavier on the bone meal side for the calcium and the phosphorus. Calcium will also help prevent blossom end rot, which is more prevalent in tomatoes, but can also hit your peppers too. So really good stuff. Both of those are insoluble, so you're going to put those out probably once a month, and then the microorganisms will break it down into nutrients that your plants can use. So yeah. Those are the two tips, blood and bone meal. The differences. But it will cover everything that your plants will need to grow. Alrighty. Now we're going to move on to the cooking segment. It's called What's for Dinner. And this week it's potatoes gratin. And this was what I made as a side for my family's Easter potluck that we had on Saturday. And I got this recipe out of Ellen Brown's The New Cast Iron Skillet cookbook. And it was really, really, really tasty. I am definitely going to be doing this again. And it was really easy. And one really cool thing about this recipe is that you can make 98% of it up to 2 hours before you do the final step, which we'll go over. And so you could prepare it before you do like your main course and just have it setting in the cast iron. Put some foil on it if you want to keep it warm. And then just at the very end, you just put the breadcrumb mixture on and you stick it in the broiler for 1.5 to 2 minutes until it's toasted on top. And then you have your side. So it's a really good, easy side prep that you can do before you actually do the bulk of your cooking for whatever you're making. So let's see, it says start to finish an hour, but like I said, after you've done the majority of the work, you can just set it to the side and do the last step right before serving, and then you'll have this delicious side. And so the things that you're going to need, this is Provençal, I don't know, it's French, I'm not very good at French. But the things that you're going to need are 2 pounds of ripe tomatoes. You're going to core them and seed them and cut them in half. And then you're going to need salt. I use kosher salt and coarse ground pepper. 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme. And then 1.5 pounds of red tomatoes. You're going to cut those into 3/4 inch cubes. 1/2 cup of olive oil. 3 cloves of garlic minced, 1 shallot minced, 3/4 cup of plain breadcrumbs. I'm having trouble saying that word. Let's take a little sip of water. Alright. 1/4 cup finely chopped fresh basil. That helped. 1/2 cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. All right, so here are the steps that you're going to need for this. You're going to preheat your oven to 425 degrees, and on a baking sheet, spray it with vegetable oil. I put down foil, and then I did the same thing. And then what you're going to do, you'll put on that cooking sheet, you'll put down the tomato slices, and then you'll rub. And you'll get, like, I got a ramekin, and I put the thyme leaves in, about a teaspoon worth of thyme leaves with the 1 tablespoon of sugar. Kind of mix it with your hands, and then sprinkle it on top of the tomato halves. And then you're going to put them into the oven for 15 minutes. And then take them out and set them aside. While they're cooking, you're going to, I just got my potatoes all cubed up and then put in the cast iron. And actually, no, I put them cubed, and then I put them into a mixing bowl. And then you add olive oil and then salt and the pepper. Coat them all in the mixing bowl. Then put them on medium heat in your cast iron skillet. And cook them for about 10 minutes. And then after that, your tomatoes will be ready. You add them into the mix. And then you cook them in the oven again for about another 15 minutes, but mine went a little long. You want to make sure that you go longer than under, because I mean, if you crisp potatoes, I love crispy potatoes, but you want to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. So stick a fork in it, make sure that they're nice and tender, and then after that, at this point, you can either take it out and set aside and do the rest of your main meal, or if you're good to go, you're going to make your breadcrumb mixture, which is the following. The remaining time, olive oil. It was about 1/4 cup of olive oil, all the minced garlic, the minced shallot, the breadcrumbs, the basil, and the Parmesan. Just mix them in a separate mixing bowl, mix them all together, and then after you take your cast iron out and the tomatoes and the potatoes have all cooked together, you will lightly coat the entire top with the breadcrumb mixture and set your oven to broil high. And it's quick, so don't go away. It's going to be about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, and until the breadcrumbs are nice, crisp, and brown, then you'll remove it and you're good to go. It was really delicious. It was a really good side. We had brisket, so you had your meat and potatoes, which is something I love. We also had some mac and cheese that my aunt's fiance brought, and it was awesome. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. So, and I will be making it again. I didn't have time. I was also going to make very similar, but with cauliflower. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow, because I still have the whole head of cauliflower, but it's pretty much very similar to that. It had some capers, and didn't have potatoes in it, but cauliflower, capers, I think some tomatoes as well, maybe. But it looked, with the breadcrumbs, and it looked very good as well. So I'm going to give that a shot. And let's see, we're moving right along. We're going to go in from what's to dinner to our life update. And we have a big one this week. My wife's grandmother is turning the big 1000. She's turning 100 on Sunday. That is incredible. And so yeah, we're gonna go up there. We're gonna celebrate her birthday on Sunday, but the big 100 birthday. It's my wife's only grandmother that she's known. All of her other grandparents passed away before she was born, but this one has been around for the long haul, and we're gonna celebrate her birthday on Sunday. It's gonna be awesome. And that's incredible. What I can't wait is just to see her on Smuckers. That's my favorite part of the Today Show. The Smuckers updates. Same guy's been doing it forever. Yeah, so that's the main life update. I mean, 100 years. I mean, let me know if you have anyone in your life that's been alive for 100 years. That's an awesome feat. And she's still kicking. She's still with it. She'll throw in some one-line jabs if you're not ready. So anyway, that's awesome. We're moving on to our listener mailbox, and we had someone write into the show. Cindy wrote in, and said that she liked the show and all that great stuff. But she did say one question for your next live stream. What is something that you used to hate to eat but now you love? And I didn't really have to think too much because there's one right off the top of my head. Because when I saw this email, I was actually in my garden and I was not really harvesting, but I was tending to the broccoli, and that's my number one. I love broccoli now, but I didn't hate it growing up, but I wasn't like, oh yeah, broccoli. Fresh broccoli, by the way, awesome. Harvested a little bit of it today and a little bit of lettuce. The lettuce is coming around in full force right now. It is doing very well. And then mustard. I could not stand mustard growing up, and I love it. I love it now. Put mustard on everything. Not as much as my wife. My wife will put mustard on popsicle sticks, frozen grapes, popcorn, everything. It's crazy. Cauliflower. She'll put it on cauliflower, apparently. She just chimed in. Hey. Anything and everything. She'll put mustard on. Or maybe she's talking about me and that I used to not like cauliflower. I think I never disliked cauliflower. I definitely love cauliflower now though. Okra. I still don't like okra. I only like pickled okra. Still kind of picky about okra, but I love pickled okra. Love it. Love it. Trying to think what else. Chime in if there's something that you love now. Maybe that was her answer. Maybe cauliflower is what she used to hate. She loves. We do love cauliflower. Can't wait to make the cast iron skillet recipe. The cauliflower. There's a picture in here. I can show you all the picture of it. That looks good too. Oven roasted bruschetta. Have to try that. I only have cooked a couple things out of this cookbook. I picked it up about a month ago when I was down in Austin. And everything I've made in it has been really fabulous. Yeah, here we go. No mustard on cauliflower. I mean, I used to not like it, but now I love it. Alright, so there we go. My wife used to be a cauliflower hater. Now she's on the cauliflower train. Here we go. Let me switch to where I can see the actual camera. Alright, there we go. Boom. Yeah, there are tomatoes in there. I'm probably gonna make that tomorrow. Boom. And yeah, so video updates. Gonna have the neem oil video out pretty soon. Let's see what other videos. I'll have a garden update out probably in a week or two. I may do an early one. I need to get to where I'm actually doing garden updates at the beginning of the month instead of mid-month. But we may do 2 this month. I don't know. Or maybe next month. And nothing too crazy's happened. Although my tomatoes have started to flower, but I've been pinching them off because I want them to still focus on growing and not producing flowers. So they're still kind of, I don't know, they're about 2 feet high. One's probably 2.5 feet high. So that's a tip for you if you're new to growing tomatoes, is if the plants don't seem like they're tall enough. It also depends on the variety too, if they're determinate or indeterminate. I pretty much only do indeterminate growing with my tomatoes. But pinching the flowers off early can help them focus on still growing vertically. A little bonus tip for this segment. And then also my cucumbers are starting to flower too as well, but same thing. I don't always do it for cucumbers, but one plant is still really small, and I went ahead and popped off those flowers. So, and lettuce is coming around strong. So, yeah. That will pretty much do it, unless there are any questions in the chat. We'll do a little quick Q&A, then wrap it up with some housekeeping. But, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in our garden. Mainly it's fixing the problem that AT&T did when they destroyed our backyard. I mean, they just, they did a number on us. That's the main thing we've got going on. Let's see. And we finally found the perfect light bulbs too, and they destroyed them. So sad. So sad. All right, I don't think there are. Again, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Appreciate it. And click the bell if you want to get notified when we go live on Livestream and also future videos. Well, we have a question. Will what's for dinner ever turn into what's for breakfast or lunch? Absolutely. It's just a segment. And the best thing about segments is that you can make it whatever you want. It's not limited to anything. So if you have a what's for dinner, I love having breakfast for dinner. I don't know about love, but I do like it. So yeah, if you have any what's for dinners or lunch, go ahead and email them. If you have any questions, go ahead and email them to me. You can send those emails to theboneylive@gmail.com, or suggestions for what's for dinner or for future content, anything, or just to say hi, or I don't know, be mean. I don't know. You can do anything. It's an email. You can write. You can do whatever you want. But anyway, send that to theboneylive@gmail.com. And again, we are going to start doing these on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So I can't wait to see you all again next week. And until next time, go out, make something, and make it amazing.